Hey guys, what's up? It's Yasmin and welcome back to my channel. Today, boy, do I got a treat for you guys. So I've never done a story time on my channel and I have so many stories, like the craziest things that you could possibly think of that could happen to a person has probably happened to me in my life. And I have so many stories to tell, so I'm like, why not just film a story time? And if you guys are new to this channel, I would love if you would hit the subscribe button real quick and also that little icon bell next to it. I'm gonna just sit here and drink my coffee while you do that. And yes, guys, I do drink my coffee out of a straw because, you know, gotta keep them teeth nice and white. So the story time I'm gonna do for you guys today, I think a lot of you guys will be surprised. So grab your popcorn, grab your drink, grab your little cafecito because this is gonna be good. So this story time is about that one time that baby girl got arrested. Yeah, crazy, I know. So this happened back in the dizzle when I was a whizzle. I'm just kidding, it was just last year. But I've never gotten arrested in my life before. The series of events that happened was like, I'm gonna just start out and paint a picture for you guys, okay? So this one night, my friends and I decided to go out. And usually when I go out, I take an Uber, you know, just in case. You don't really wanna be driving when you're out like partying and stuff like that. So this one night, I knew that I wasn't gonna drink because I was on antibiotics. So I'm like, whatever, I'm not drinking. I was actually the designated driver that night. So I get ready, do my makeup, put on a cute outfit, go pick up all my friends, and we go out. So the whole night I'm out, I'm having fun, no drinks. I'm not one of those people that needs alcohol to have fun. Like I was still out, you know, even without alcohol. So I was just in the environment of alcohol. I wasn't really necessarily drinking it myself. So in Ohio, all the clubs and stuff close at like 2 a.m. And we actually didn't go to one spot. We were kind of hopping. So I don't even know. We probably went to 10 places that night. And at the end of the night, at around like 2 a.m., everybody gets in my car and I just drop everybody off. Now I legit get like 5 minutes, not even 5, I think like 2 minutes away from my house. Like where I got stopped by the police, like if this is where I got stopped, my house would have been like one turn away. By the time I dropped everybody off, it probably was like an hour and a half. So I'm guessing this happened at around 3:30 a.m. Yo girl was tired. I was so tired that night. I was legit like, oh my God, get me home so I can just go to bed. So I'm driving down the street and legit nobody is on the street. Like not a single soul. It was like 3:30 a.m., pitch black, no cars out on the road. And when I'm driving straight, I see this police officer turn on my street. So I'm going this way and the popo's going this way, like the opposite direction. And I know that this police officer is probably looking at me because I'm legit the only car on the street. So I'm going this way and then from my mirror, I see this police officer bust a Yui. She legit busted a bitch and came right behind me and her little lights went off. At this point, I'm just like sitting there. I know that I was driving perfectly fine. You know, it was a straight street, so it wasn't like I was swerving or doing anything. So I'm like, So I pull up on the side of the street. The police officer with her light blue and red flickering in my eye is right behind me. She gets out. She gets out. Yes, it was a female police officer and I'm like, because you know female police officers are usually gonna go a little bit harder on you. So she comes out, I'm like, bro. So she comes up to me and says like, ma'am, the reason I stopped you is because you don't have a front license plate on your car. So the way my car is set up, I don't have a front license plate. I kind of just put it up on the dashboard. But in Ohio, you are required to put your front license plate in front of your car. And then she takes one good look at me. So this night, I don't know if you guys remember that phase that I would wear like red eyeliner. I loved like the whole red smoky eye look. And because I was wearing red eyeshadow and red eyeliner, it legit looked like my eyes were bloodshot. So she puts the flashlight in my eye and I'm like, well, I don't know, but this light was just so piercing in my eye. And also come to find out, I reeked of alcohol because I was around it all night. So I legit smelled like the floor of a club. So she puts up the flashlight to my face. Have you been drinking tonight? And I said, no, like I haven't. And she like looked at me. Of course, my eyes were piercing red and I was tired. So like my eyes were definitely not wide awake. I smelled of a club. It's like if all signs point to you being drunk, they're gonna think you're drunk. She asked me to get out. I did a series of tests. One was like a pen test. This is like a lipstick, of course, but it was a pen, and she kept making me like go up and down with my eye. She made me walk up and down a straight line, and also she asked me to like do this thing with my hand, which I can't even do right now sober. I know I did really well on it because I was careful and I was sober. But for some reason, this woman like just did not want to believe I was sober. She's like, turn around for me, and I turn around and this bee puts handcuffs on me. She puts me up against my car and says like, anything that you say can or can't be used against you in court. You guys know that line that you like see in movies. I'm telling you, at that point, I'm like, God, is this a dream? Like, is this really actually happening to me? At this point, I asked her, I was like, can I please just take the breath test because I'm not drunk? And all she says is, I don't have it along with me, and puts me in the back of her car. And I'm like, okay. And she gets into her seat in the front, and she's just sitting there like filling out paperwork. I think I said it like 2 more times. I'm like, ma'am, I'm not drunk. I'm not drunk. And I realized the more that I was talking, she thought the more drunk I was. Because you know when you're drunk, you just keep talking. She thought that because I was drunk, I kept talking. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna shut up. When I take this breathalyzer test and I'm not drunk, she's gonna feel real stupid. So we're just sitting there, and I think it was a good 15-20 minutes that I'm legit sitting there just staring at the sky, like staring at the wall. I'm like, why is this happening to me? And like 15-20 minutes later, another cop car pulls up, and I guess it was somebody that she called to, I don't know, help her. Now that I think back on it, I think this officer was just really, really new to her job because she didn't know a lot of the stuff that she was doing, and I think she recruited the other police officer to come just to like help her out. So in my head, I'm thinking, okay, he probably brought that little breath test. I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna be off the hook. I'm literally 2 minutes away, straight shot to my house, and baby girl gon' sleep. You know, your girl danced a little too much that night. She was tired, her feet hurt. You know that feeling when you're out, when you're just like, man, I just can't wait to be in jammies and get in bed. Like, that's all I was thinking of that night. And my house was just so close, but so far away. So when this other cop car pulls up, she gets out of the car, she goes and talks to him, and he gives her like a set of paperwork. She comes up to like my side of the car, opens the door. She was basically reading off this whole list of stuff. And at this point, I'm not saying anything. I'm like, I am not going to speak because the more I speak, this woman thinks I am drunk. And then she says, I need to take you to the police station so you can go ahead and take the breath test. When she had initially handcuffed me, she took all my stuff. She took my keys, my phone, my bag, everything I pretty much had with me, she put in a Ziploc bag. My car was legit on the side of the road, and she's like, I will go ahead and move your car into this parking lot. And I like muffled under my breath. I'm like, well, that's nice of you. So she takes my keys, and I watch her drive my car inside the little Walgreens parking lot, and she just leaves it there. Once she gets back in the car, we make our way to a police station or something. So we drive to what feels like an eternity, and it seemed like we were going somewhere with no civilization. I think we passed one gas station the entire way that we were going there. I mean, of course, like around my house, I knew that area, but once we drove like 10 minutes out, it was legit trees for the next 30 or 40 minutes. And I'm just sitting there. At this point, I'm kind of getting scared. I'm like, where is this woman taking me? Why are we going this far? It was just so surreal to me. Finally, we get to this one building, and she pulls me out of the car. I'm still handcuffed. It was the weirdest thing. It was one police officer in there sitting in the front. Kind of like towards the side, there were these 2 rooms that looked like tiny little jail cells. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to jail. And I was just like freaking out. I'm like, no, please don't do this to me. I promise I'm not drunk. We go into this one room, and then the place that they do the breath test is in this other tiny little room. I'm telling you, I went in there and my hands were handcuffed, and I was just like sitting there like crouching because it was so small. It would barely fit like myself and her. So I've never seen these breathalyzer tests. So it's like this big old like rectangular machine, and then they give you this thing that you're supposed to breathe in, and then that big machine tells you if you passed or not. So she puts that thing against my mouth, and she's like, okay, blow out. I've never taken one of these tests, and I didn't know that you had to blow out so much air. In my head, I'm thinking you just go like, no, you need to breathe out for like 2 straight minutes. I'm like, I can't. Like, I didn't have enough breath in me to do it. She puts it up against my lips, and I just go like, you know, like a decent amount of air. And then I just stopped because she wasn't saying anything. And then she's like, no, keep going, keep going. I'm like, I can't, like I don't have enough air. So since I didn't put out enough air, the whole system came up as an error, so she couldn't use it. And then she's like, ma'am, you need to breathe out a little bit more. And I'm like, ma'am, I can't produce that much air. Oh my goodness. So after that error thing comes up, I guess you have to wait another 10-15 minutes. And I'm like, oh my God. So by this time, I think it's like 4 or 5 a.m. So we're sitting there for another 10-15 minutes. And at this point, I'm like, ma'am, do you want to get out some pillows or something? Do you want to have a sleepover? Because it seems like you just want to spend your night with me, you know? So 10-15 minutes pass and it's time for me to take the breath test again. So I go in that little room, crouch in there, and I'm supposed to breathe out for a good solid 2 to 3 minutes. Now, this time I come in prepared. I'm like, I'm trying to fill up my lungs, my esophagus. I don't know. I'm trying to fill up my body with air so I can shoot out as much air as possible in this thing. So literally I'm like, and she can legit see my eyes tearing up, and she's like, no, keep going, keep going. And I'm like, turning purple, blue, freaking tears dropping out of my eyes. And I'm like, so what seemed like freaking eternity, finally I produced enough air in this bit for it to tell this woman that I am not drunk. And then she's like, okay, well, we need to call somebody to come pick you up. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, you sure? Seems like you just want to spend your night with me. So girl, grab the snacky snacks, let's get some pillows, we'll have a sleepover if you really want to. And I'm just sitting here like Sherlock. It is like 4 or 5 a.m. Who is up right now to pick me up? I do always call my brother in these situations, but his license was expired at that time, so he couldn't really pick me up because you do have to show a form of identification when you come pick somebody up, and he would have been screwed. So my other instinct is Naz, but Naz is a koala bear. Like, no ring, no alarm, no sound, nothing will wake this girl up. And I'm like, who in this world can be up at this time of night? Mel. Mel is the only person that I could think of at that time that could possibly be up at 4 or 5 a.m. If you guys didn't know, Mel is kind of nocturnal. He barely sleeps. So I'm like, yes, I'm gonna call Mel. He's gonna wake up Naz and they're gonna pick me up. So I call Mel and Mel answers the phone, and you can tell he was like freaking out because he's like, what's wrong? And I was like, hi Mel, I am at the police station. Can you wake up Naz and come pick me up? And he like didn't even know what to say. He's like, yeah. And I'm like, I don't really know where it is. I know it's far. I'm gonna give you the address and wake up Naz and come pick me up. So I give him the address. And I'm just sitting there like, man, like this place is far. They're gonna take another 30-40 minutes to just come pick me up. So for me to make the phone call, they did end up taking the handcuffs out of my hands. So you know that cell that I talked to you about? So they ended up putting me in that cell. And I was just like, why are you putting me in a cell? Like, just to wait. And when they're doing that, they're just like, we've had a lot of people in the past that get up and just run away. And when she's saying that, I'm like, yes, ma'am, that's exactly what I want to do. I want to run away in the forest in the middle of the night, just cause that's what I like to do, you know? They put me in that cell. I sit there and they let me have my phone, which was really nice. So 30-40 minutes later, I see Naz and Mel come in. They couldn't see me at first because those cells were kind of at the side, and the police officer was just like waiting for me right in front of that area. And I told them, I was like, they're here, that's who's picking me up. So she opens the door and I'm like, hallelujah. And Naz and Mel's face, when they look at me, they're like, what are you doing? And my face was just like, yeah, so they check Naz's ID, they check Mel's ID, and we get in the car, and your girl is finally free. Oh my God. So Mel is driving, Naz is riding shotgun, and I'm in the back. And the first thing Mel says, or I think Naz, one of them said was, you legit smell like the floor of Bullwinkle's. So if you guys don't know, Bullwinkle's is this bar slash club near Ohio State, like on campus, and they're like, you legit smell like the floor of that. And I'm like, you don't say. So then they take me to the parking lot where my car was. I finally get to my car. I drive my own car to the house. And at this point, the sun was coming up. My whole night was gone. Honestly, there's been a lot of crazy things that has happened to me. I'm not gonna say this has been the craziest thing that has happened to me, but it's up there. The only reason I was keeping calm throughout this whole process was because I knew that I would pass the test and I would be left off the hook. But if I was actually drinking that night, I would have been petrified. Like, that is the most scariest thing. Guys, do not drive drunk. Uber everywhere. If you know that even you're gonna take a sip of alcohol, do not get behind a wheel, because that entire experience was so scary to me. Yeah, so that brings me to the end of the story. Moral of the story, do not drive drunk. It is not worth it. You do not want to waste your time, your night. And a DUI is pretty serious, so it's gonna follow you for the rest of your life. But I hope you guys enjoyed this story time. If you guys want more story times from me, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, because baby girl got a lot of stories. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to see you guys next time. Bye, loves.